Live from Bryant-Denny Stadium, it's the Crimson Tide Kickoff A-Day Special with Gary Harris, presented by Alpha Insurance.
Wow, the Walk of Champions is already filling up. Alabama fans from all over are making their way to Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's A-Day, and time for a tradition that goes back over half a century. And good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Crimson Tide Kickoff, the A-Day edition presented by Alpha Insurance. I'm Gary Harris, and there's no opponent to break down today. It's all Crimson Tide for the next hour right here on WVUA 23. We have eyes and ears in and around the stadium. We'll check out what's going on at the Walk of Champions, but we'll also get a glimpse inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, the site of this afternoon's A-Day game. Now, it may only be April, but this spring was loaded with storylines, and there's no better way to start than, as we always do on CTKO, with Bama Headlines.
For the latest on the Crimson Tide, you don't need the newspaper. You need Bama Headlines.
And this whole A-Day tradition started back in 1946, but it has really taken off since Coach Saban's arrival in 2007. The Crimson Tide annually draws in excess of 70, 80, even 90,000 fans to Bryant-Denny Stadium. We expect nothing different this afternoon. We're also expecting to see how much depth Alabama has right now on the team. The Crimson Tide was tested with numerous injuries during the spring, especially on offense. But as Coach Saban says, injuries present opportunities for other players on the roster to step up. But the biggest test facing this Alabama team as it prepares for the fall is trying to repeat. They say it's one of the most difficult challenges in all of sports, but the Crimson Tide will seek a 18th national championship this year. Well, normally on CTKO, we take a look back at last week's game, but of course, the last time we saw the Alabama football team compete was January 8th, a game that will go down as one of the greatest in Alabama history, overtime in the College Football National Championship in Atlanta, when Tua hit Devontae Smith for the epic game winner that clinched the Tide's 17th title. Nick Saban has his 24-hour rule, but the players admitted they took a little more than one day to celebrate that one before turning the page.
I mean, obviously enjoyed, the championship for a few days. Just kind of relaxed and hung out for a while, and then obviously, got right back into it.
One thing that Coach Saban always says, you don't inherit success. So whatever we did last season or 2 years ago for guys that have been here for a while, it doesn't really matter. And the fact that we won a national championship last year just puts a bigger target on our back for this year. So we know that we have a lot of new challenges and things that are going to come our way this upcoming season, so that's what we're focused on.
We kind of put it past us, I think, at this point. Like I said, it's a new team, new guys, new faces. So we just want to figure things out.
And the team was hoping to figure out the quarterback situation sooner rather than later, but an injury to sophomore Tua Tagovailoa held the battle up this spring. Joining us now is Zach Tigert with more on the most important question facing this Alabama team ahead of fall camp.
Gary, it's as tough a call as any coach will ever have to make, choosing between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, both quarterbacks with such impressive resumes, and both quarterbacks battling this spring to be QB1 this fall. One quarterback has a 26-2 record as a starter, leading his team to consecutive national championship appearances. The other is a southpaw from Hawaii, whose rocket of an arm was the jolt his team needed in order to rally from a 13-0 deficit and take home national championship number 17 in dramatic fashion. So even with an incumbent starter headed into his junior season, another quarterback battle is underway in Tuscaloosa.
Both those guys have been great. I mean, I know that every time I stand up here, you're all going to try to make something out of it that it isn't. It's two good players that both can contribute to our team, and we're going to both give them an opportunity to do that.
But the battle took an early hit when Tua Tagovailoa, the heroic Hawaiian, suffered an injury on day one of the spring.
Tua, hurt his thumb today in practice.
But Tua bounced back, and the battle resumed.
They've all done an extremely good job this spring. Every single one of them have contributed to us, and they all have gotten better. I really enjoy working with them.
But come this afternoon, the battle will once again be on pause.
Tua had a little setback yesterday with his hand.
That leaves the incumbent Jalen Hurts in control for A-Day, the same stage on which he first made a name for himself 3 springs ago. But this afternoon, fans may see the best version of Jalen yet.
Jalen has done, I think, had a really good spring from the standpoint that, we've really tried to focus on continuing to help him, develop confidence in the passing game. And he has shown signs of being able to do that, and we want to continue to work on that.
And that means this year's quarterback battle is likely far from over. And with Tua out this afternoon, that leaves the Tide down to 2 scholarship quarterbacks for A-Day, Jalen, and the other being Mac Jones, who Nick Saban said last weekend he would like to see mature mentally. So expect to see a lot of number 10 on the field this afternoon as well. Gary?
Thank you so much, Zach. This is a familiar face to Alabama football fans. One of the 2017 captains, the center, Bradley Bozeman, getting ready to embark on a National Football League career, and also getting ready to have his handprints and cleat prints put in the cement over at Denny Chimes. But right now he's with us. Good to see you, Bradley.
Good to see you, too.
All right, buddy, before we kind of look ahead, this past season, I mean, what an amazing year. You get to 11-0. You're number 1 after Georgia lost the week before, and you go down to Jordan-Hare and lost Auburn, which is an Alabama player. It's like the ultimate disappointment. But you got a second life. You got in the college football playoff, and then we know what happened. It was just did you ever think in your wildest dreams you'd be able to lose to Auburn and still win the national championship?
I thought there was still a chance.
Okay.
I think it was a good wake-up call for us. We were lucky enough to have opportunity to come in and do what we did.
Yeah.
It was an amazing opportunity, and we're so blessed that kind of did happen, because I think that just propelled us right into the championship.
In the semifinal game, Jalen and the defense played great. You were able to control the football, took care of Clemson. Then in the national championship game, I think Alabama epitomized the process. Jalen was struggling at halftime. Coach went to Tua. The offense came out in the third quarter, started making some plays, and you had the incredible comeback victory for the national championship.
Right. It was just amazing. I think that game really summed up of the entire season, all the injuries, all the, just the things that happened during the season. And it worked out really well for us. I mean, it showed our adversity. It showed what we've been through. And I mean, it was just an amazing game. And just so glad to get that win and for everything to turn out like it did.
So you win the national championship, but you're not done celebrating. In fact, right after the game, you find Nikki Heckstetter, your girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, former Alabama women's basketball player. You get on one knee right there on the field. You propose. I mean, my goodness, was that premeditated? I guess it had to be. And but she didn't know it was coming. Tell me about that moment.
It was awesome. We got her down on the field. Like right after I told her I told my teammates that I was going to do it. And they're like, no way. So they started following me around, and we got her down the field finally, and everyone was just set up perfectly, helped me out, and we got it done. She said yes, so it was all good.
Yeah, phenomenal moment. There you are in the locker room post game. We caught that video after you proposed, and so you're getting married. You're celebrating the national championship. I understand you guys have already got married.
No,
you haven't got married yet. Okay.
No, sir. March 23rd, 2019.
Okay, so it is. You got to take some time and get ready. Next up for you is the NFL. You may be drafted, you may not be. You look great, by the way. I know you've been working hard. Just tell me what the prospects are and what you think of your chances of making it in the NFL.
Right now, we're just doing everything that we can. We're training hard. We've done everything that we've possibly been able to do. Senior Bowl was great for me. Pro Day was really good. I couldn't ask for better days, and everything that's in my control, I've taken care of. And now it's just up to coaches to see if they want me.
You're a big guy. Obviously, you have to be if you're going to play, center. But you've trimmed up. I mean, I don't want to take a guess how much weight you've lost, but you look really fit. How hard have you been working? How much weight have you lost?
Before Pro Day, I lost 32 pounds.
Holy cow!
So, and then I put a few more back on because I got down a little farther than I wanted to. But I think it worked out pretty well for me. I got down to 296. So
the captain's ceremony is coming up at Denny Chimes. What does that mean to you to have your handprint and your cleat print put in that concrete over at Denny Chimes forever, recognizing you as a permanent captain for 2017?
It's a dream come true, honestly. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a team captain. I've seen all the legends that have their handprints over there and feet print, and it's just I can't. It's so surreal that I haven't even wrapped my mind around it yet that it's about to happen. So
it's going to be awesome. I can't believe how many people are already on campus this morning. Finally, you're a football player. You're an excellent student, but you're more than just an athlete. You want to make a difference in your community. You're part of an anti-bullying campaign that has really taken off. Tell me about it.
Yeah, the anti-bullying campaign, thanks to Rachel Barbeau, she kind of led me down this path went over to Pell City and talked to some students, and it just really tugged hard on my heart. And it's been amazing. I can't explain it other than that. It's been the most satisfying thing I've ever done in my life. It's just these kids have so many stories and so much terrible things going on in their life, and you know, if you haven't experienced that, a kid opening up and telling you that what he's going through or what she's going through, like it's really eye-opening. And I mean, we really need to be there for our youth. I mean, times have changed since I've been in middle school and elementary school, and I mean, just with cyberbullying and all that, it's so much bigger than it was before.
Great work. We appreciate you. Hey, listen, 10 seconds. What's it going to feel like to watch the 8A game and not be out there today?
You know, I've had my time. You know, I've done my 5 years. It's time to let someone else come in and have their opportunity.
Well, good luck in the NFL.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yes,
Nikki, I'm sorry I tried to go ahead and get y'all married. See, but it's gonna happen soon. Thank you so much, Bradley.
Yes, sir.
And we're just getting started here on CTKO. Take a look from our tower cam. I mean, this place is already ramped up, and it's only going to get more hyped. Coming up next, Levi Wallace, another standout from 2017 Alabama National Championship squad, is going to be in studio to talk about his Crimson Tide career and the NFL Draft and much more. That's coming up on CTKO. Plus, if you're making your way out to the stadium today, there's a few new features on the Walk of Champions. We'll give you a glimpse. CTKO, presented by Alpha Insurance, will return right after this.
You're watching Crimson Tide Kickoff on WVUA 23.
14 former Alabama football players, that was the most from any school, showed off their skills at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. 22 Alabama players have been selected in the first round since Nick Saban took over as head coach. The NFL Draft starts this coming Thursday in Dallas. And one of those former Alabama players at the Combine was Levi Wallace, and the former Alabama quarterback joins me now. Levi, good to have you in studio.
Thank you. That's for having
me. Your pal Bradley Bozeman was in earlier. I still think he got rooked. He should have been at that Combine too, don't you think?
Definitely one of the top offensive linemen in the nation.
Let's start right there. What was that experience like? We know it's almost like the job interview for the NFL on the biggest stage, but not only are you talking to people, I mean, everybody's, they're checking body fat, height, weight, hand size, jumping up in the, I mean, it's just, what was that like?
Humbling and exhaustion. It's a 4-day process. I mean, you don't compete till the 4th day.
Right.
I mean, the first day, you're at the hospital, getting all your x-rays. Second day, back at the hospital, just doing a lot of tests. Third day, meeting with teams, from 3:30 in the morning to 11 at night. So, and then you're competing the 4th day. It's really challenging. But I mean, I loved it out there. I love being with the other players.
And you also got invited to the Senior Bowl, so you kind of got the double dip. You got to work in front of NFL scouts and coaches all week in Mobile. Then you got to the Combine. You got to feel like that has really helped increase your draft stock.
Yes. I just went down there to Mobile and tried to suck up as much information as I could from the Houston Texans. They have really great coaches. I'm just trying to become a better person, as far as my technique on the field. So.
Most Alabama fans know your story, Levi, but let's familiarize maybe those that are watching that don't. A former walk-on, which we know people say, well, you can't walk on at Alabama. There's 5 stars that don't even get to play. You proved them wrong. Your late dad proved motivation for you. You wanted to fulfill a promise to him. Not only did you walk on, make the team, but then you start. Now you're going to be drafted. I mean, it's the Cinderella story.
Yeah, definitely. Someone was asking me the other day if I could go back and do it differently, would I? And I told them not one thing, I told a lot of people that I never went to a lot of football camps back in high school. And I'm glad that I walked on here. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't be the same player that I am now with this opportunity to go to NFL Draft.
Absolutely, and to have an NFL career. This past season, I asked Bradley about this just a little earlier. Every season is tough. They're long. For Alabama, the expectation pretty much is championship or else. You know, fans aren't happy unless you win it all.
Definitely.
You go to Auburn and you lose. And, you know, that's about as big a blow as an Alabama football player can sustain. But your body of work was good enough to get you into the playoff. And once you guys got there, you took advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, I think Auburn was just an eye-opener. You know, we took winning for granted, Coach Saban said.
Right.
And I think he hit the nail, you know, right on point. You know, we just lost sight of what was important. You know, it's a tough place to play at. Auburn had a great team, you know, they're on a roll, but at the same time, we always think that it falls on us, you know, the outcome of the game. And then, you know, it just transitioned into Clemson, a little bit more focus, determination. And I think without that loss, we probably wouldn't have been the same team that we were in the playoffs.
Yeah, one thing about a championship team is you win in different ways. You get to New Orleans and really physically just kind of, I know it was a payback game. Took care of Clemson, dominated them, ran the football, played great defense in that game. And then in Georgia, in Atlanta against Georgia, you're down 13-0 at half. And Coach Saban goes to Tua Tagovailoa. You know, Jalen was struggling. And again, in the second half, you guys let it all hang out offensively. Defensively, you started shutting them down. I mean, as a champion, you're going to be tested. That was about as big a test as you could face, down 13-0 to come back and win. Did that make it even sweeter to win in that fashion?
Yeah, you know, when we first won against Clemson a couple years ago, I realized, you know, it's better to win like this because we always thought, you know, we were better than Clemson. You know, they came from the ACC, and then it was one of the toughest games we've been in. So I thought, you know, winning like that would make it that more important. And, you know, just being down 13-0, you know, I don't know when the last time Alabama's been down 13-0, but just to fight and crawl back like we did, you know, and even step up the way they did in the second half was unbelievable. And, you know, it just goes to Coach Saban and his coaching.
Even though you're leaving, one of the great aspects of this program from Coach Saban is how these former players in the NFL come back and continue to follow and support this team. Looking ahead, can Alabama do it again in 2018?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, as long as Coach Saban is here, anything is possible. You know, a lot of changes with the coaching staff, but we had a lot of great players that are still here on the offensive side. And, you know, I know a lot of people talk about how many DBs we lost, you know, 6 starting DBs, but there's some great DBs coming in. They played last year and got a lot of playing reps last year. And then some freshmen coming in as well. So I look forward to the challenge that they have next year and supporting them all the way through.
Any preference on who drafts you? You got the ties to Arizona. Would you like to see the Cardinals take a shot?
I mean, Arizona, you know, that'd just be home. Yeah. I'd love to go to Arizona. But, you know, I want to be back west. You know, I just love the weather over there. That's why I train back there. But anywhere really. Yeah. As long as I get my opportunity to play.
And you will, and we're looking forward to it next week. Thank you, Levi.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, still to come, our third guest of the morning, former Alabama wide receiver Kevin Lee from the 1992 National Championship team. He'll join me in studio. We'll talk about how that national title stood up for a long time until Nick Saban got here. We'll have him in, and he'll be coming up right after this short timeout. This is Crimson Tide Kickoff. You keep it tuned right here at WVUA 23. Sophomore receiver Jerry Jeudy is not expected to play in today's A-Day game, but he made his mark on A-Day last year out of high school. He caught 5 balls for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was named the MVP as a member of the white team, but it was the Crimson team that won the game, breaking a 5-game winning streak for the white. And Jeudy is trying to build a big career as a wide receiver here at Alabama. Our next guest built a big career as a wide receiver here at Alabama, went on to be a second-round draft pick of the New England Patriots in 1994. And he joins us now in studio. Kevin Lee, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Man. Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, there's so much excitement. And there was excitement around the A-Day game when you played as well. It's always been a big deal. But what's happened under Nick Saban for these spring football games? I mean, it's incredible, isn't it?
Man, it's very incredible. He brought a new, I would say like a new era. He just, you know, I think Alabama was the first school to like bring 95,000 to an 8-day game. You know, that was unheard of. You know, of course, when I was here, the stadium only holds 77.
Right.
But hey, I mean, he brought a great inspiration to this university.
You know, you were a junior on the '92 National Championship team, and that was a great football team. I mean, I still think that team could line up and play against these teams today. That's how good it was. 13-0, beat Miami, 34-7 down in New Orleans. But for a long time, that was the last national championship team until 2009. I know you guys enjoyed that, but at the same time, how happy were you when you finally said, hey, we're not the last team to win a national championship around here when the 2009 team won it?
Oh, we were very excited. You know, each year, every team wants to win a national championship. And through the years, from when we played till Nick got here, you had great players to come through this university that they all set that one goal first to win the SEC title and then hopefully get a chance to play for the national championship. So when he finally got here and he put the team together, put all the right pieces together, and they won it, we were so excited for those guys. You know, they're like, man, you know, now you got somebody else to share this great feeling with, and it was incredible. Now 5 times in the last 9 years. We're watching your highlights here. You were known for your speed. I mean, you could run. What was the fastest you ever clocked out at the 40? 4.29. Wow. And I did that as a sophomore here when on grass. Wow. For some reason, I was faster on grass than I was on turf. And I don't know if it was just psychological, but, you know, when I first got here, the university was still turf. Yeah. And then they switched over to grass. That's flying, man. But then I was 160 pounds, too. Yeah, well, that kind of speed's why you were a second-round draft pick, number 35 overall by the Patriots in '94. Played a couple, 3 years in the NFL, but we see you're in your garb today. You're going to play in the flag game. Now, listen, you got to be really careful, and I know you don't want me to bring this up, but injuries can occur, even for the old guys played in the flag game. Tell me about the last time you played. The last time I played, put like this, when it's time to hang it on the shelf, it's time to hang it on the shelf. And I wasn't doing anything crazy, didn't make any type of drastic move, but took a wrong step, and unfortunately, tore an ACL. Ouch. Playing in the alumni flag football game. So now I will be a big cheerleader. Okay. Cheering on the team and just to come back and pretty interact with the fans. So you learned your lesson, I learned my lesson big time. So you see a lot of guys out there that are older. They will have on sneakers. Yeah. They will not have on cleats. So maybe I had the mistake of wearing cleats and maybe got caught. But, you know, it is what it is. But it's a great time for guys to come back and just, you know, get a chance to see each other and see how everyone's doing. No, that's a big part of what this day is about. Oh, yes. This program right now, we mentioned 5 national championships in the last 9 years. The expectation pretty much is that Alabama can win it every year. The quarterback situation. As a former player, you respect what Jalen's done, amazing career so far, but Tua flashed his talent last year. He came into the national championship game and pulled it out in the second half. Now you got both these guys battling for a starting job. It seems to be kind of a delicate subject, but how do you see this quarterback race playing out? Well, I mean, Jalen's put the time in. Tua's put the time in. You know, Nick has to sit back and really just analyze, okay, what's best for my team, who's better going forward. I would give Jalen the credit of me being able to watch him for 2 years that he doesn't get rattled. And with Tua coming in the second half of a national championship game, that shows great poise also. Mm-hmm. But I guess for me, and I'm not a coach or anything like that, but I need to know if I have a quarterback that can take that hit the way Jalen took in the Ole Miss game, and we're still down 3 touchdowns, and still keep his poise and bring this team back. We haven't seen that from Tua because he hadn't got hit had to do it yet. Yeah. What does that rattle him, or does that motivate him to hey, I shook that off. Let me keep going. But hey, Nick has that decision. Yeah. He'll make the best decision. He'll do what's best. Hey, in Nick we trust. Yeah, so, that's right. Good to have. Leave it at that. real quickly, we got to wrap it up. Jay Barker was a winner, and he was a good quarterback. But David Palmer, when he went back there, he could do some things. If they both stood on the 20-yard line and threw it as far as they could, who had a better arm? Jay or David? I would say Jay had the better arm because he was used to being a quarterback, but David was so dynamic. He can throw it also. And short little story before we go, whenever we had a situation in the game and we didn't know what to do, Coach Starlin would say, hey, number 7, just get the ball to number 2. Get it to 2. It was fantastic having that player on my team because he opened up a lot of holes. And if Jay wouldn't get it to him, Jay let go there and just snap it to him. Like Causey snap it to him. Hey, get the ball to number 2. Hey, let him do what he do. Good to catch up with you, Kenny Lee. All right, coming up next, there are plenty of activities if you're making your way down to the stadium, but take your time and check out some of the new additions around the Walk of Champions. We'll have the details when we come back to CTKO.
You're watching Crimson Tide Kickoff on WVUA 23.
Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff, presented by Alpha Insurance. I'm Gary Harris, live inside our Bryant-Denny Stadium studios. But just outside the WVUA 23 studios are some new features, like a new number at the Nick Saban statue. 2017, Saban's 5th championship at the capstone, and his statue is starting to look a lot like Coach Bryant's, with all those numbers on it for national titles. And then earlier this week, workers put in the 2017 plaque on the Walk of Champions. It lists the captains, Bradley Bozeman, Rashawn Evans, Mika Fitzpatrick, and Sean Dion Hamilton. But you may notice it's right up there against the steps. They're already running out of room on the Walk of Champions. But I guarantee if they win one in 2018, they'll figure out a place to put it. Well, in today's game, you'll see a lot of new faces, 6 new coaching assistants, and 5 new players on the roster. 5 early enrollees. Savion Smith is a junior college transfer. He's one to watch, now a cornerback with the Tide. Also in spring camp was punter Skylar DeLong, looking to replace J.K. Scott, linebackers Derez Parks, wide receiver Slade Bolden, and defensive lineman Stephon Wynn. That's a smaller number of early enrollees than usual for Alabama, but it's a good opportunity to get all the young players more experience.
We got 4 or 5 guys that are sort of out for the spring, and then we only had 5 mid-year guys, so we probably have a few less numbers than what we've had in the past in the spring.
We got a lot of young guys. We lost a lot of guys last year. We lost a lot of seniority, a lot of guys that have been here for a while. So I think the biggest challenge for us is getting young guys ready to play and play to the standard of what Coach Saban expects around here.
Not only were there 5 new players in spring camp, half the coaching staff has already turned over from last year. 6 new coaches, 2 new coordinators, and Johnny Congdon has more on how the team is adjusting to the new coaching staff.
Well, that's right, Gary. There's been a good bit of shuffling on the Alabama coaching staff, but that's nothing new for the Crimson Tide. And if history has shown us anything, with Nick Saban at the helm, you can expect a smooth transition. Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin, Jeremy Pruitt, Jim McElwain, Jimbo Fisher, Will Muschamp. What do all these coaches have in common? They all once worked under Nick Saban. In his 22 years as a college football head coach, Nick Saban has tutored multiple coaches who learned to wish the process for themselves. Fast forward to 2018, and Nick Saban has a whole new stable of young and hungry coaches who very well might be future head coaches themselves.
We've got 6 new faces, around here, but they all seem to fit in, and they're all doing extremely well. And I'm excited about them, and I like every one of them. And to be honest with you, I think we were very, very fortunate and hit a home run with the guys that we were able to hire.
On the defensive side of the ball, the Crimson Tide have added D-backs coach Carl Scott, D-line coach Craig Kuligowski, and inside linebacker coach Pete Golden. On offense, Saban went out and landed new wide receivers coach Josh Gaddis from Penn State, and then added noted quarterback guru Dan Enos. On special teams, Saban stayed in conference and hired Jeff Banks from Texas A&M. The players know, despite the new faces on the staff, the expectation remains the same.
We've kind of had coaches come and go, at least since I've been here, so definitely is a good bit of them new faces, but they're all really good coaches. We really have embraced them. They've embraced us, and they really enjoy their jobs, and they bring a lot of energy and passion. So I think we're clicking very well, and we're excited to see where this team can go.
The coaching carousel wasn't just limited to the new additions. Mike Loxley is now the offensive coordinator, and he wasn't the only former staffer to earn a promotion, as Tosh Lapoy was named defensive coordinator of the Crimson Tide. Coach Joe Panunzio will shift from tight ends to work with the running backs, and Brent Key will remain the offensive line coach. A-Day will be the first test for this new coaching staff to work out all the kinks, because come September 1st in Orlando, Florida, Nick Saban will expect every coach to be on their game as the Crimson Tide take on Louisville. For Crimson Tide Kickoff, I'm Johnny Condon. And in addition to some of the new faces on the coaching staff, Alabama has added a few more analysts to the squad, that including former Tennessee Volunteer head coach Butch Jones. And Gary, I hear you're going to tell us a little more about the new analysts.
Thank you, Johnny. That's the plan, because that's what we do here on CTKO. We provide you with more information. As usual, Coach Saban has a host of analysts on the staff, as you were saying, including some high-profile names, none more well-known than former Tennessee head coach Butch Jones. He's in Crimson now. They also have longtime NFL assistant Lou Spanos in tow. And as is the case, the analysts, though, cannot coach on the field during the games, but certainly they can help in terms of preparation, scouting, film study, and all of that. So it's good to have them there. Well, earlier I mentioned Savion Smith and the fact that he can make an immediate impact in that Alabama secondary, which is replacing basically everybody. Part of the reason for that is the fact, like I said, it's going to be a whole different unit. 6 players with starting experience are gone from last year's team in the back end. The position is so thin that this spring, wide receiver Devontae Smith was moved over to work with the DBs just to give them enough numbers to fill out a unit. Even so, with just a few players, they feel like it's starting to come together.
We're just very well, you know, over the course of the spring practice. Like we become together as a group. We're getting better every practice and we're making progress.
We don't have a lot of guys right now, so you know we just gotta work with what we have. We just try to get in the film room every day with just what we have. Communicate as much as possible. That's a major key on defense. You got to communicate the plays and communicate to each call.
And we're going to keep communicating with you right here on Crimson Tide Kickoff. When we return, one of Alabama's secret weapons wins a national award. That and much more on CTKO. Stay tuned. We're coming back to Bryant-Denny Stadium right after this.
We're proud to once again call the University of Alabama our national champions. Thank you and roll Tide.
Alabama's 5th trip to the White House in the Nick Saban era. First time during the Donald Trump presidency. Coach Saban, Director of Athletics Greg Byrne, and University President Dr. Stuart Bell all got to go inside the Oval Office. And the team was back at practice the very next day. This is Alabama football. And while the team was in the nation's capital, trainer Jeff Allen kept working. Here's a picture of him inspecting Tua Tagovailoa's left hand, and he was also seen working on Miller Forristall's knee. Training never stops for the Tide. And welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff. Jeff Allen and the Crimson Tide medical staff showed again last year just how amazing they really are. Christian Miller and Terrell Lewis, the linebackers, were both thought to be lost for the season after suffering season-ending injuries. At least that's what we were told in the season opener against Florida State. But they came back to play against Auburn. And numerous other players came back early from their injury timetables as well. Allen has been with the program since Nick Saban arrived. He's behind that popular medical tent that the team uses on the sidelines and now more teams are using. But more importantly, he's behind a lot of great personal recoveries. Earlier this year, Allen was named the Trainer of the Year by the National Athletic Trainers Association. And that comes as no surprise to the players he works with.
They're talented and they're very invested in their jobs. They take it very serious and, you know, they care about us and they want to make sure that they do the best they can. And they definitely do that, and, you know, we appreciate it a lot.
Their whole group of people over there has done a phenomenal job with so many players here. And I guess it's a little bit like having insurance, you know. It doesn't matter what kind of insurance you have until you have to make a claim. But these guys are fabulous, and when we get guys hurt, man, they do a great job with them.
Yes, they do. Well, Alabama received a nice surprise when running back Damien Harris chose to return for his senior season instead of leaving early for the NFL Draft. CTKO reporter Trent Padilla has more on Harris's decision to return to T-Town.
During Nick Saban's time at Alabama, 6 running backs were selected in the early rounds of the NFL Draft. And with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, Damien Harris looked like the next Alabama running back to go early.
I just want to say forever roll Tide.
Even with 5 Alabama juniors making the jump to the NFL this fall, Damien Harris has decided to put his professional career on hold.
Damien, you know, wanted to finish his education. I think he likes college. He likes school. A lot of guys, man, they got it in their mind that they're going to go out for the draft no matter what. And I think you all know my philosophy on that. If you're a first-round draft pick, you should go. If you're not, you should stay in school and try to graduate.
Even though there was potential he would go early in this year's draft, Harris was committed to another year of the process.
Just being a part of this program is something that I consider to be very blessed with. So looking at whether I could leave or come back another year to be a part of this process for one more year that I feel like makes me a better person, I obviously thought that was better for me and my family, and hopefully the draft will be there later, but at the end of the day I just wanted to come back and be a part of this program for another year.
With Harris's counterpart, Bo Scarborough, leaving for the NFL, the team will rely on Harris more than ever.
For the past 3 years, I've just kind of been a guy that just kind of does my own work and then goes about my business. But being the old guy on the team, one of the old guys on the team, now I really have to embrace that leadership role and positively affect other people. So I think that's the biggest challenge for me, coming back this year. So that's how I'm looking to improve.
Damien had a lot of yards, and people, barely recognized or gave him any kind of recognition on it. So I think this will be a big year for him individually.
Harris can put himself in Alabama's record books, needing just under 1,400 yards to break Derrick Henry's all-time rushing record. For Crimson Tide Kickoff, I'm Trent Padilla.
Thank you, Trent. We're going to take a quick break, but when we do come back, and we will, Johnny Congdon has some tips for what you can do if you're coming out to the game this afternoon. So don't go anywhere. Crimson Tide Kickoff, presented by Alpha Insurance. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff here on WVUA 23. We are right here behind the Walk of Champions. The National Championship Trophy is on display for fans to come take a photo with, as well as the Sugar Bowl Trophy. You should see this line of fans that we have right here. Look at all these people that came out today to try to take a photo with the newest piece of hardware for Alabama football. The line stretches endlessly all the way back towards the trophies, to the statues of the coaches. And this is all just to get one glimpse of the National Championship Trophy, which Alabama now has two of course. And the fans are absolutely loving it here. And taking a photo with the trophy isn't the only thing fans can do here today at Crimson Tide Fan Fest. There's cornhole, there's snacks, there's fun, prizes, games, representatives from Topgolf, John Deere, RVing. There really is so much you can do here in Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa is the epicenter of the football universe here today. And of course, kickoff is at 1 o'clock inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
All right, thank you, Johnny. And as you'd expect, it is busy around the stadium, as he just showed you, because Alabama's expecting, 70,000, 80,000, maybe 90,000 to attend today's 8A game. Johnny showed you some of what's going on around the stadium, but there is a lot happening throughout the day. The Mercedes-Benz Fan Fest goes on all morning long. Then at 11:15, it's the annual Walk of Fame ceremony at Denny Chimes, where last year's captains will get their hands and cleat prints cemented into the Crimson Tide Walk of Champions forever. That's going to happen right around 11:50. There's going to be a home run derby at halftime. I'm looking forward to that. And then after the game, as always, there's access to the field for autograph and pictures. That's just some of what the fans get out of today's festivities. But for the players, it's about improving as a football team. Every player, young or experienced, can benefit from playing in front of the fans, and it's those fans that make today's game special for the players.
The 8A is something that all the players here, we look forward to. We look forward to the fans coming out, and we just look forward to putting on a show for them.
Like when the fans just come, it's so beautiful. Like because all these people come out and support you and your team, so that's a great thing about your fans.
And these fans are. They're different. Joining me is Brandon Cameraman. Brandon, the fans have strong opinions when it comes to Alabama football, whether it's late November or right here in mid-April. And as always, you monitor the social media pulse of the Crimson Tide Nation. What are the fans thinking this week?
Well, we know they're kind of into this quarterback battle, I think. It's caught some attention. We know Tua is out today. So the social media poll of the week was how many passing yards Jalen Hurts will finish with in this game. And, well, fans seem to agree. He's going to have somewhere in the 100s. 60% of voters say Jalen will finish with 101 to 200 passing yards. The rest of the voters pretty much split between less than 100 and somewhere in the 200s. Only 2% said he'd throw for more than 300 yards. And that's kind of interesting because last year in the 8A game, Hurts threw for 301 yards.
Right, he hit that mark.
There's a good chance he could do it today. The Tide does like to air it out sometimes in the spring game, show off a little bit for fans. So I'm kind of questioning the fans' judgment right now. You think he throws for over 100 or over 300?
Maybe. Can I hedge just a little bit? I think he's certainly capable of, and with Tua not in the game, I think they're going to let him swing. It wouldn't surprise me one bit, right? That's for sure. Thanks a lot. Still plenty more to get to on Crimson Tide Kickoff. We'll take a look at Alabama's 2018 schedule and also talk with Mr. Tider Insider himself, Rodney Orr, about what to expect in today's 8A game. Stay with us because CTKO will be coming right back. Look at that shot inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. We're going to be ready to go. Stick with us. Alabama opens the 2018 season in Orlando on September the 1st. It's the Camping World kickoff game against Louisville. Bama's home opener is the following week against Arkansas State. The SEC opener is September 15th at Ole Miss. That can be a tough trip. And then the Tide returns home for Texas A&M on September 22nd. Bama goes out of conference for a home game against Louisiana Lafayette on September 29th, and then back on the road at Arkansas the next week. October 13th is homecoming as Bama welcomes an SEC East opponent, Missouri. Then it's the third Saturday in October in Knoxville against Jeremy Pruitt in Tennessee. After the bye week, Bama is back on the road at LSU. Then it's 3 home games to finish out the season. Mississippi State, the Citadel, and the Iron Bowl against the Auburn Tigers when Bama will be looking for payback. And you see him every Tuesday night on Tider Insider TV, so don't adjust your screen. This is CTKO, but we're bringing in Rodney Orr from Tider Insider Nation to join us here on the program. Rodney, I guess I should be used to it, and you too, as long as we've been here. But I got to tell you, I was still struck this morning when I left my house about 8:25. I just live right over here on Hackberry, and it took me about 35 minutes just to get here. The place was already bumper-to-bumper traffic on University
It's
Boulevard.
like a maze trying to get in here. They've got so many streets blocked off, but fortunately, we both made it on time.
Well, fortunately, I guess we are VIPs because they let us in, and here we are doing the show. From a football standpoint, though, I know for the fans this is an opportunity to get in the stadium, watch the 2018 team, or at least a good portion. There'll be more players, of course, that come in this summer. But for the players and the coaches, what do you think they look to take away from this game as they close out spring drills?
Well, I think, first of all, from a coaching standpoint, Gary, I think you look for see how your players respond to the opportunity. I mean, you're on TV, national TV, ESPN. Certainly, a lot of these guys have never had an opportunity to perform on a stage like this. You also want to see, how do they respond to coaching? How do they make adjustments? Being in front of this crowd. I think it's just a great opportunity for a lot of young players, which we'll see today. Now, we have also seen from Nick Saban now, he'll play a lot of the better players a good portion of the first half, maybe into the second half at times. So, I just think he likes to see how people respond.
Of course, one of the parts of this game the fans were really looking forward to was Tua quarterbacking one team and Jalen the other. Tua won't play, so it'll be Jalen and Mac Jones. For Jalen, particularly with the story coming out earlier this week in regards to his dad saying that he might transfer or would look to transfer if he's not the starter. How much pressure is on Jalen today now? Does that add pressure to him, you think?
I don't think it does internally. I think maybe fans may make a bigger deal out of it. Look, they're not going out there. He nor Mac Jones, they're not going out there with a game plan trying to attack a defense. This is totally different. This is about development. We've talked about development, Gary, all throughout the spring practice. They're going out there to get better, to improve in this opportunity that they have. And you look at a guy like Mac Jones, for example. He's never had a chance like this.
He's a starter now today.
This is a big stage for him. It's a great opportunity. It's the next step for him. So, again, I think that internally you look at it completely differently than maybe people on the outside.
And for Tua, he won't play, but what can he learn today watching this game?
Well, I think Tua, Gary, this is a guy that constantly is looking for ways to learn. And, again, I think the main thing that, what he looks for in opportunities like this is to kind of see how he would respond in the situations if he were on the field. But also, I think one thing that he does really well, and I think that it's very helpful to the team, is the way he supports his teammates.
Who you picking? Remember Coach Bryant once said it was his favorite game because Alabama was guaranteed to win.
Okay, then I'll pick Alabama.
Thanks, Rod. Rodney Orr from Tider Insider TV and TiderInsider.com. All right, we're going to take one more break, but when we come back, we'll make our wild predictions of the week. And, for an 8A game, you really got to reach down deep. We'll have that for you. You're watching Crimson Tide Kickoff, presented by Alpha Insurance.
Everybody in the organization is on a team except me. All right, so I am the commissioner in this particular game. So under no circumstances will I be eating beans on Monday. I'll be jumping on the winning team's back and, riding them right through the steak and beans dinner.
Why not? He is one of the world's greatest 50 leaders, according to Forbes, number 12 on the list. So he can do what he wants. The game will be played as it usually is, though, ones versus ones, twos versus twos. The Crimson team is the first team defense. White is the first team offense. And as always, the winner eats steak, the loser gets beans and Franks. Nick Saban gets whatever he wants. And so does Brandon Cameraman, because he produced the program and he did a great job with it. And it's time for our wild predictions. It's 8A, but we still got some.
That's right, and I'm going to go with that first team defense, or the second team defense versus the second team offense. Obviously, we know Mac Jones is a little untested. We're going to see what he's capable of today. So I'm actually going to go with someone we're not expecting. Daniel Wright, safety, is a sophomore safety. We saw him on special teams last year. He's really talented. I'm going to say he gets 2 interceptions in this game. Daniel Wright, the young safety. I believe in this kid. I think he's really good.
That's pretty wild. Zach Tigert. Zach, what you got? Go quick, buddy.
Hey guys, you certainly do have to dig deep for these wild predictions on an A-Day game, but I want to go back a few weeks ago after the first spring scrimmage. Nick Saban was very complimentary of kicker Joseph Bulovas. He said he had a great day and that he's feeling a heck of a lot more confident. So for today's A-Day game, I predict will be perfect. Alabama will be perfect from the kicking game this upcoming afternoon. Wouldn't that be a prediction that the fans would like to see?
And I'd say Brian Robinson is the leading rusher in the game. That's it for CTKO. Thanks for watching.